Hello again, everyone. I am Chris Shera, and this is the Sipton Sports Weekly for Wednesday, October 27, 2021. I've kind of lost track of the days because as you can tell by my background, I am no longer at 25 Dill Street. I'm in my house, my living room exactly.
The
And
Wasco Bureau. Yes.
yeah, and it's a little weird doing this from home. And I have to admit, I do miss the office a little bit. There are some advantages to working from home, no doubt about it. And but I kind of like being in the office too. So as you might have heard, we are moving to new digs, but we're not ready yet. So for now, I am working from home. And I'm sure when the winter starts, it'll be pretty nice. So, anyways, before I forget, Robert Harding and Justin Ritzel are with me, and it's great to see both of them. And let's get this. Let's light this firecracker. Get it going here. So, our first topic is our Week 7 takeaways from the NFL. My takeaway: the Cincinnati Bengals. Wow, was that impressive or what? They go into Baltimore and shellac the Ravens. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and you know something? Let's give their defense a little credit. I don't think I can name one Bengals defensive player, but let's give them some credit because they held Baltimore to 17 points. Not an easy thing to do recently. My buddy Frank Berwinzak, who's been a Bengals fan since the 70s, has got to be like pinching himself, thinking like, what's going to happen now to screw this up? But the Bengals look to be for real. It looks like it could be a two-team race in the North between the Bengals and the Ravens. And of course, the Bengals right now, since they beat the Ravens the first game, have the tiebreaker. So could we see a Bengals AFC North division winner in 2021? Absolutely astounding, shocking, and really cool because, the Bengals, like we've said before, long-suffering franchise fan base. They deserve this. They got Joe Burrow. I wish Miami had gotten him. If they had tanked more, they would have gotten him. But they had to win a few games in 2019. That's another thing. But anyways, congrats to the Bengals so far. Let's see how it goes. Robert, your Week 7 takeaway.
I mean, my takeaway is that the Chiefs stink. This is a team that, they can't even get it together on offense. I mean, I know that, the Titans are the new, favorite thing of NFL pundits that, they've, won a couple games here. First one was a little bit lucky, I would say. The second one, impressive at home, but impressive. But the Chiefs look miserable. I mean, Mahomes, the golden boy of the NFL, looks like garbage. Looks like he couldn't even start for the Texans right now. You've got Tyreek Hill, who apparently a little banged up. Kelsey's a little banged up, and then that defense is atrocious. I'd be worried about that. I think we're entering the phase now of the season where maybe you have a slump in September and you rebound after that. I mean, we're almost through October here, folks. I mean, and this Chiefs team has not shown any consistency this year. That defense is atrocious, and I'd be really concerned because that AFC, to piggyback on your point, Chris, the Bengals are quite the surprise. Obviously, of the Ravens right there, the Bills, of course. The Raiders are 5-2 in the Chiefs division. The Chargers are 4-2. So this is not an easy conference for the Chiefs to be messing around in. They really need to get their act together. Maybe they can do it on Monday Night Football against the Giants. That's a winnable game for them. I think they're favored by 10. They should win that. But I mean, it's not looking good for them, and especially in that conference with the teams that are there. That AFC North could easily produce 3 or 4 playoff teams this year, which is crazy, just given how the wild card plays out. So it's going to be tough for them to get out of that conference, especially with the schedule ahead. Yeah, there might be some cupcakes here or there, but it won't be easy for them. They could make the playoffs. They have the talent on offense to do it. The question is whether that defense can play better to prevent teams from putting up 30, 40 points on them.
Justin, your Week 7 takeaway.
Yeah, I think we've reached deep enough into the season where it's fair to say that all the conversation about the dominant NFC West before the season started was a bit overblown. We're looking at, two really good teams. Obviously, the Cardinals are the lone undefeated team in the NFL. And I think the Rams they still have as good a shot as anyone to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. But between the 49ers just totally crapping their pants over the last, few weeks, really, this gives me joy to say, really ever since the Packers went and stole that win from them back in week 3, the Niners have just looked pitiful ever since. So they haven't been the team that I think a lot of people expected. I talked about them last week. And then the Seahawks, obviously, I don't know if they were going to be some dominant team before the Russell Wilson injury, but his absence just really puts on display kind of how weak that roster is. Aside from they have a couple they have 2 really good receivers, DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, and that's kind of it. And if you're a Seahawks fan, considering you don't have your first round pick this year, and who knows, before all the Aaron Rodgers drama started last offseason, there was Russell Wilson drama. Who knows what's going to happen in his future? It's really funny that for a team that really dominated the 2010s, won a Super Bowl, could have won a second Super Bowl, made the playoffs pretty much every year, we're kind of seeing a real turnaround for the Seahawks here in a negative way. That's a franchise that has a bleak looking future. And maybe that's Russell Wilson calling in, who knows, but the NFC West is not the dominant division that we thought it was going to be. And I'm enjoying it because I don't like those teams.
I apologize for the phone ringing. This is the drawback of being in the living room.
Is that a landline?
Yeah, it's a landline. We still have a landline.
Jeez. Welcome to the Sports Weekly 1998 edition.
Yeah, I was going to mention to my daughter if the phone rang to please grab it as quickly as possible. But, I kind of forgot to mention that. Of course, I could have just had the phone next to me and muted it, but that's
Excuse me, Chris. She is a hardworking college student. She shouldn't have to be your gopher during the day.
Well, you're right about that. She is a hardworking college student. I can attest to that. But I like to think that she can always help out Dad when he needs help. So not that much, but occasionally. So, all righty. Sorry about that, folks. So our next part of the program is our NFL Week Pick 6, or Pick 4, I should say. Pick 4 for Week 8. There we go. Last week, Robert 2-2. There we go, 500, and myself and Justin 1-3. Yeah, it was that Saints game. I was praying for the Saints to get that touchdown because they would have covered. Would have been a better week. But anyways, but for the season standings, yours truly still in the lead, 13-14. Robert is 10-17, and Justin 8-19. Whew, boy. All right, so. Well, kind of coincidentally, our first game is Justin's Green Bay Packers. They're going on the road Thursday night, I believe, to take on the undefeated Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are 6.5-point favorites. Wow. Look, I know the Packers have some issues, some injury issues, COVID issues, or something or another that they're not 100%. The Cardinals, I think being the home team on a short week never hurts. Look, the Packers with Aaron Rodgers could win this game, could easily cover. But I just think the fact that Packers do have some shortcomings right now, I'm going with the Cardinals to win and cover the 6.5. Go ahead, Justin.
So it's not too often that Aaron Rodgers is a 5-point or larger underdog in regular season games. Really, it's only been maybe 3, 4, 5 times in the last 10 years since he won the Super Bowl. So this is a very rare thing. And yeah, obviously this game started as I think 3.5-point line, and it got bumped because the Packers are going to be most likely, who knows, maybe something will sneak in here last minute, but most likely will be without Devontae Adams. And Allen Lazard is definitely out because he decided to not get his vaccine. So he has no shot at playing. Thanks a lot, dude. But listen, Aaron Rodgers has a history, whether it be without Davante Adams or as this large of an underdog, of covering. Now, they don't often win these games, but I think this is going to be a very close game that probably the Cardinals win late on a late field goal. But I do think the Packers, who have been constantly disrespected throughout this entire season, everyone talking about, oh, they don't have a good win on their schedule, blah, blah, blah. Wait, didn't they beat the Bengals, who are currently the number 1 seed in the AFC? Are we just going to forget about that game? A game that shouldn't have been as close as it was, save for Mason Crosby forgetting how to kick for 5 minutes. Listen, you want to bet against Aaron Rodgers for a team like the Cardinals that hasn't done anything as a franchise in like 6 years? Hey, be my guest. I'll ride with one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, even on an undermanned offense. They still have a lot of talented players, and their defense has been playing pretty solid this year. So I like the Packers, not necessarily to win, but I think they'll keep it close and lose in probably a 3-point game.
All right. Robert?
Yeah, this is a tough one because, part of me says, oh, no Davante Adams, that's a bad thing. But, to Ritz's point, Packers have a lot of talent on that team. Aaron Jones, let's not forget, he's a stud. He can help in the passing game, of course, and obviously as a runner. AJ Dillon, spelling him. I mean, that guy might get a few more touches in this game, and all it's going to take is one thigh to the face to send a message to the Cardinals there, I think. So looking forward to that. And then, Robert Tonyan at tight end, and we'll see what receivers they piece together. But they've got a solid team there. Randall Cobb, I should mention, obviously. That him and Rodgers had some good games way back when, so maybe they'll turn back the clock. But I wouldn't read into the whole Davante Adams thing too much. Obviously, he's arguably the best receiver in the league. So when you're without him, that obviously stinks. But got the damn reigning MVP in this game still. You've got Aaron Jones, as I mentioned. There's plenty of offensive talent. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I think this will be a tougher test for the Cardinals. They have played some pushovers this year. They really haven't played well against some of those teams. So, and Thursday games are a bit of a wild card. You don't have that much time to recover. I know that Kyler's been dealing with some injuries. Maybe some other guys are too. I like the Packers to cover in this one. I think they'll keep it close, if not win it.
In the Matt LaFleur era, before we move on, in the Matt LaFleur era, so going back to 2019, Davante Adams has missed 6 games. You know how many of those 6 games the Packers have won?
6.
All 6. Okay, so this is a head coach who knows how to scheme up a game without his best offensive player. Just another reason why I'll probably jinx the Packers, and Chris will be the only one who gets this game right. So, but I had to throw that out there. It's relevant.
No, true. Our next game, the Tennessee Titans at the Indianapolis Colts. Titans are a 1-point road favorite. Look, we saw what Tennessee did to Buffalo a couple weeks back. I just think that this is a team that's just firing on all cylinders right now because of Derrick Henry. The Colts, I mean, look, they came across with a really nice road win at San Francisco last week, and they are playing better. They got off to that 0-3 start, I believe. They're playing better too. But to use a cliche, I know Robert loves these, divisional game. The opponents know each other pretty well. It's only a 1-point spread, which means all the Titans have to do is win by more than 1, obviously. I think the Titans can win by more than 1. I'm picking the Titans. Go ahead, Robert.
I've been, impressed by the Colts the last couple of weeks. It seems like that defense is starting to play better, and the offense is coming together. Carson Wentz, I'm not going to toot his horn too much here, but he's starting to look like he's getting comfortable again in that Frank Reich offense. That could be a good sign for the Colts to come. But yeah, this is going to be a tough one. The Titans are rolling. I don't know what you mean, Chris, about, we saw what they did to the Bills. Yeah, Josh Allen slipped. That's what they did to the Bills. Nice grass you've got there in Nashville, that bum city. Whatever. Yes, more impressive what they did, I think, against the Chiefs, completely dismantling Mahomes and company. I think that they'll win this one pretty easily. They showed last week one thing, about Derrick Henry. They showed last week that just the threat of Derrick Henry is good enough, especially when you have Julio Jones and AJ Brown to throw to in that offense. That Tannehill, former Dolphin, that went on to bigger and better things after getting out of that dump as well. I think the Titans will be just fine in this game. They'll win pretty easily.
Justin.
Robert, taking shots at the bachelorette capital of the world. There's going to be a lot of 23, 24-year-olds who are unhappy with that comment, but
bring them on.
That has nothing to do with this game. I am convinced, and I haven't went back and looked at all my picks, which obviously have been the worst in the pick four based on the standings. But I am convinced that the reason I am in last place is because there are 7 or 8 teams in the AFC that are basically all the same. Granted, Robert, I would say your Bills are probably the best team, but there's just not that much of a discrepancy right now between the top 7, 8 teams in the AFC. And I'm just every single week picking the wrong team, like last week. Pick the Ravens to beat the Bengals. Didn't happen. Pick the Chargers a couple times. They didn't pull through for me. So in this case, I think that the Titans have probably had their tires pumped a lot over the last couple of weeks, beating the Bills, beating the Chiefs, dominating the Chiefs. I think a lot of people are on the Titans right now. And yeah, the Colts have quietly, kind of remained in the thick of things in the AFC South and the AFC for maybe a wild card spot. They're home. They're a 1-point underdog. I'm at the point now, as far as the AFC, where I'm just throwing my arms up because I don't know who the hell's good. I don't know who the hell's bad. I don't know who the hell's going to cover. So I guess I'll just take the home underdog because, God damn it, I have no explanation for why I do the things I do. So Colts, whatever.
Wow. Hey, let's keep it PG here, folks.
Come on.
That's funny. All right, our next game, Tampa Bay at the Saints. Buccaneers are 5-point favorites. Tampa Bay coming off another great win last week. Tom Brady, the first NFL quarterback to throw for 600 TD passes, which is astounding when I remember when Dan Marino retired with 420. And Brady has just absolutely obliterated that mark. So congratulations, Tom Brady. Anyways, Buccaneers are 5-point favorites at the Saints. Saints coming off a short week on the road. And they may be a little banged up, a little tired. But the thing is, they didn't show much against. I just say these things to see the reaction on Robert's face. It never fails. I just think the Buccaneers are playing the best football of just about anybody in the NFL right now. And the Saints, would they put up like 17 points? 13? It was
13.
That was not a good performance against the Seahawks. So that being said, I think the Bucs cover the 5 easily. I know it's a division game, familiar opponents, but I just think that Tom Brady or Jameis Winston. Seriously here. Maybe Winston has his revenge game and plays out of his mind or whatever. Could happen. Stuff like this happened before. But I'm going with the Buccaneers to cover the -5. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, I think that the best chance for the Saints in this one is if that defense plays, as good as they have and can, kind of rein in that offense. It's going to be tough. Even without Antonio Brown last week, we saw what the Bucs can do. So, we'll see what happens here. I'm not confident in Jameis Winston's ability with that Saints offense. He's got Alvin Kamara to throw to and hand off to. They might be getting Michael Thomas back this week or next. I don't know, but I think that there's going to be a feeling out period there. We'll see what happens there. But I'm not confident in the Saints. I am definitely taking the Bucs in this one. I think Brady, will have a decent day, and that Bucs defense could feast against their former teammate.
Justin, who do you like?
Well, the NFL world loves to swoon over 44-year-old Tom Brady, throwing at historic touchdown rates. Chris mentioned his 600th touchdown that he threw, which Mike Evans foolishly gave to a fan. Kind of a funny moment there. Here's the thing with Tom Brady. The last 2 years, he's had great statistics. There's no doubting. He's on pace to throw like 45, maybe 50 touchdowns this year. And I'm sure, at the end of the year, we're going to look at it and say, oh, hey, those numbers are great. Look at Tom Brady go. Just defying Father Time once again. The thing with Tom Brady is that he piles up stats against whack defenses. He did that last year. He's doing it again this year. Hey, it's all so impressive when you can throw 5 touchdowns against the porous Atlanta Falcons or 5 touchdowns against the miserable Miami Dolphins. Or last week, the lame Chicago Bears, he throws 4 more touchdowns. Hey, that's fantastic. Look at his numbers when he plays halfway decent defenses against the Rams. Sure, he threw for 432 yards. He threw for 1 touchdown. It came in garbage time. The Bucs offense stunk that game. The following week, they go to New England, another team with a, not spectacular, but solid defense. Brady, no touchdowns, no interceptions, only completed 50% of his passes. Well, now he's going to New Orleans in a tough place to go and win games for visiting teams. And he's playing a defense that's really, really good, a defense that can stop the run, a defense that has a good secondary. Marshawn Lattimore kind of has Mike Evans' number. As a fantasy owner, I remember a few years ago when Mike Evans got kicked out of a game because he couldn't catch anything against Lattimore, and then he decided to pummel him along the sidelines, and he got ejected. Antonio Brown, probably not going to play this week. So I don't know. This is kind of looking like a game where it could be closer than most people expect because the Saints have a really good defense. And then you're just kind of hoping and praying that Jameis Winston makes 1 or 2 big plays, which I admit I am slightly skeptical he can do. But 5 points on the road at New Orleans seems like too large of a spread for me with a defense as good as the Saints. So I'll go with the Saints.
Okay, our last game, the Dallas Cowboys, 2.5-point favorites on the road at the Minnesota Vikings. I'll tell you this. If this spread was a little bit higher, if it was 4, maybe a little bit more, I would maybe considering the Vikings to cover, but all Dallas got to do is win by a field goal. Again, Dak Prescott, I think definitely an MVP candidate. I like the boys. I mean, I think their defense is good enough. The Vikings don't scare me. I like the boys to cover the 2.5. Pretty easy one if you ask me. Go ahead, Justin.
Well, I said last week how everyone likes to talk up the Cowboys, of course, because they're supposedly America's team, even though half the country hates the Cowboys. So maybe that's the most American thing of them all, is that everyone's 50-50. Either you love them or you hate them. What better describes this country? But the Cowboys are due for a down game. They're going to Minnesota, a team that, I think if you look at the skill positions, you put Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, that's as good of a skill position group as you're going to find in the NFL. And it really just comes down to, do you trust Kirk Cousins? Against a lot of teams, I would not trust Kirk Cousins. I don't think I necessarily trust him in this game. But sometimes that Vikings offense can show it can be really, really good. And they're home, so I guess I'll take them. I think Dallas is due for a slip up. And I'm really, really disappointed that Chris didn't bring up the fact that both of these teams are coming off a bye. That just seems right up his wheelhouse, and he just let one slip there. So
sorry, I'll try to.
Your talking points apparently took this game off, but I'll go with the Vikings.
Justin, I think we differ on every game. We differ on every single game. This is going to be interesting because, some
The
of us.
comeback's got to start somewhere, Chris.
Oh, I know. I don't know whether you're doing it intentionally or you actually like, hey, this is the way I feel. And I think that's the way you are. You do feel this way. You're making some pretty good justifications for your picks. So, but boy, this is gonna be interesting. All right, Robert, go ahead.
Well, I'm not smoking that Rochester marijuana there. I don't, I mean, I look at some of these things and, the thing with Ritz is that he could easily go 4-0 this week. I mean, that
Good.
it's a recipe for 4-0. I mean, I look at how the season's gone and he could just find himself on the right side of this thing. I'll call my shot now if it happens. But look,
one of these times I'm going to have a good week. At some point it's going to happen. I'm not a complete moron when it comes to the NFL. I do follow the league pretty closely.
8-19.
The law of averages will apply at some point.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing about this that's so funny is that when we have the You Pick 'em through our website, auburnpub.com, and like I've had pretty good weeks on the You Pick 'em. It's just on this video when we pick against the spread, like the Saints Seahawks game, totally screwed by the Saints. They should have, covered that game, but they didn't. So here we are. Ritz, you stole my thunder a bit there. I was going to definitely mention the fact that these teams are coming off byes and mention that we have truly hit the trifecta of sheerisms in this video. But, in this game, I think the Cowboys have a good enough defense to contain that Vikings offense. It will be tough, though. I mean, the Vikings have some weapons there. Thielen, Jefferson, Delvin Cook, of course. Kirk Cousins when he wants to, but I think Dallas is just a much better team. And I think this is a type of game, the Vikings don't have the greatest record, but certainly are in contention in the NFC. I think this is the kind of game that the Cowboys want to make a statement. You're going up against a talented Vikings team, win in convincing fashion. I am going to take them on the road in this one. I think that they will win by at least a field goal.
All right, those are our NFL picks for the week. Our last topic, the World Series is going on. It started last night, actually, and the Braves coming out, leadoff home run, and got off to a nice quick start and won, beat the Astros in game 1 at Houston. I think a lot of people were surprised by that. So we're going to make our World Series predictions. So I still think the Astros are the best team. I mean, look, no doubt the Braves have had an amazing season. They knocked out the Dodgers, although you can almost say more of the Dodgers knocked out the Dodgers because they're horribly run. But that being said, they did get to the World Series. They're there. They proved they're a good team. But I just think the Astros are clearly the best team that's of the two left, obviously, and one of the best teams in baseball, period. And I know we all hate to say it because the Astros obviously were banging those trash cans a few years ago, and they have a reputation of being cheaters. And then, of course, Dusty Baker, who is the manager who somehow finds a way to lose things. But I think the Astros win it in 6. I think that, being the better team, it'll come out eventually. And despite the first game, the game 1 loss, I think they come back and they win the World Series in 6 games over the Braves. Go ahead, Robert. Your thoughts, prediction.
Well, about 4 days ago, and I do have the tweet here to prove it.
Yeah.
I called my shot here.
Braves in 4.
Braves in 4.
Yeah.
That's what I think of the Astros. I think the Braves are just a hot team right now. I believe they won 44 of their last 66 regular season games. We've seen what they've been able to do in the playoffs. What happened to Charlie Morton last night's unfortunate because that's a pretty good arm for them that he's now out of the World Series with a broken leg. But they've got a pretty good rotation and relievers, of course. And then the bats. I mean, this is a team that they don't have Ronald Acuna Jr. And they're still here. And he's one of the game's best players. So, that says a lot about this roster. And I'm just more confident in them than the Astros. I don't think much of the Astros. The Nationals beat them 2 years ago. One of my proudest moments as a baseball fan. And then, of course, we know the history there, the trash cans and, the cheating there and Altuve keeping his jersey on, supposedly covering up a tattoo or whatever. There's not a thing I like about that team. I don't really like the Braves either, but I appreciate, great baseball when I see it. And, I hope they sweep the Astros. It would be quite a feat. And it would bring that tweet. It would make that tweet look pretty good, I must say. Certainly better than my NFL picks.
Yeah. Go ahead, Justin. What do you like in the series?
Well, I don't like the Astros. I never will. They're a bunch of clowns. I just can't in good conscience pick them. I'm not a holy man, but I do believe in the sports gods every once in a while. They like to reckon with teams that cheat, and that's exactly what the Astros did. And I think that organization is just due for heartbreak year after year after year. I'm thankful that the Washington Nationals were able to knock them out of the World Series a few years ago, and I'm hopeful the Braves do it here. I think Robert makes a good point. The funny thing, and I used to complain about this with baseball in terms of its postseason format being too advantageous to the wild card teams. And obviously they changed that, and now the wild card teams have to play an extra game. But I always used to say, like, it's so disheartening that you could be a better team for 162 games, but the team that just gets hot, as Robert said, gets hot at the right time, more often than not, is the team that goes on and wins the World Series. That's why you saw in the 2000s so many teams that were just wild card teams, the Angels, the Red Sox, they got hot for a month and won it all. I know there's been other examples since then, but those are the two that immediately come to mind. And I think the Braves just kind of, they have that same recipe of a team that was really good in August and September and made some really key acquisitions like Jock Peterson, who's really stepped up and been a nice player for him. And sometimes that's all it takes. So I don't think this is going to be a sweep by any means, like our co-host here, but hey, why not the Braves? They're a franchise that for so often in the 90s and the 2000s were the better team through 162 and then came up short in the postseason. And maybe now the script is flipped and the baseball gods are on their side this time around. I certainly hope they're not on the Astros side. If it means that they have to make the playoffs every year for the rest of the time over my Angels, but they lose in the World Series every one of those years, I would take that just to see the stain on all the Astros faces. It's embarrassing that they haven't been punished for what they did even more. Thanks a lot, Manfred. I'm glad Roger Goodell's taken the same page out of your book, a topic that we didn't touch on today. But screw the Astros, go Braves, who I'm not necessarily a fan of, but hope they win the World Series.
All right. Hey,
Boom.
Pretty good video here. I had some good stuff as always, and we appreciate everybody tuning in and enjoy the games. And unless there's anything else you guys want to add before we sign off here.
If I'm not going to pick games correctly, I might as well entertain. So that's why I came here today, to spew off some hot takes, to maybe get the FCC, in our mailboxes, whatever.
Well,
I'm here to entertain.
You entertain. Right. About it, Justin. Okay, guys. Appreciate it. Folks, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next week.